The world is swimming in debt. We're not just talking a little bit, we're talking well over $324 trillion as of early 2025. If every single country seems to be a borrower, it begs the question, who did we borrow it all from? If you're thinking the answer is China, you're not alone, but you're also not entirely right. The real creditors are hiding in plain sight, and there's a good chance one of them is you. First things first, what even is national debt? Think of it this way. When a government's spending on things like roads, defense, and healthcare is more than what it collects in taxes, it runs a deficit. To cover that gap, it has to borrow money. So how does it do that? A country doesn't just call up another and ask for a loan. Instead, it sells IOUs called treasury bonds. When you, or anyone else, buys a bond, you're lending money to the government. In return, the government promises to pay you back your original investment on a specific date, with regular interest payments along the way. This whole system is seen as incredibly safe, especially for a stable country like the United States. Why? Because the government has the power to raise taxes or tweak the economy to make sure it can always pay its debts. This reliability makes government bonds a super attractive investment for people and big institutions looking for a safe place to put their money. So, who's buying up all of these government IOUs? Let's follow the money. Starting with the usual suspects, a big chunk is definitely held by foreign governments and investors. For the US debt, countries like Japan and the United Kingdom are some of the biggest foreign holders. But here's the first surprise. All foreign countries combined own only about a quarter of the total US debt. It's a massive number for sure, but it's not even close to the majority. So where's the other three quarters? Well, this is where it starts to get a little weird. A huge portion of a country's debt is actually held by the government itself. Yes, you heard that right. Government agencies like the Social Security Trust Fund in the US often collect more money than they need to pay out right away. Instead of letting that cash just sit there, they buy treasury bonds. In other words, the government is lending money to itself. But even after all that, we still haven't found the biggest lender. The single largest owner of national debt might be the last person you'd suspect. It's the nation's own citizens and domestic institutions. When you put money in a savings account, contribute to your pension fund, or pay an insurance premium, those companies don't just let your cash collect dust. They need to invest it somewhere safe to earn a return. And what's one of the safest investments on the planet? You guessed it, government bonds. Mutual funds, state and local governments, insurance companies, and commercial banks are all massive buyers of this debt. So, when your pension fund buys a treasury bond to help secure your retirement, it's lending money to the government. That means, indirectly, a piece of your retirement savings is funding the national debt. So, in a very real sense, you are the lender. The money doesn't just appear from thin air. It's recycled from the savings and investments of everyday people and businesses right inside the country. This system creates a constant cycle of borrowing and reinvesting that helps power the modern economy. It's not some strange accounting trick. It's a huge, interconnected web where savings in one area are used to fund investments and spending in another. However, this isn't a perfect system. For many developing countries, the cost of paying off their debt is crippling. In 2023, these economies spent a record $1.4 trillion just on servicing their foreign debt. For some, these interest payments now consume more of their budget than healthcare or education. The United Nations has warned that 3.4 billion people live in countries that spend more on debt interest than on these critical public services, trapping them in a cycle of debt. This shows that while a country owing money to itself is one thing, a heavy burden of foreign debt can create immense financial strain, especially for the world's most vulnerable nations. So, when we ask who the world owes its massive debt to, the answer isn't some shadowy global banker. It's a complex financial network made up of foreign countries, our own government agencies, banks, pension funds, and most importantly, ourselves. That money is constantly flowing in a circle, from our savings to the government and back to us as interest.